Welcome to the Exit Row, a brand new aviation podcast where we argue so passionately about airplanes that we're always in danger of being kicked off the plane. I'm your host and producer, Adama Anderson. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Justin Moore and Paige Larson. We're all aviation enthusiasts living in Omaha, Nebraska, and we love to debate about everything from the latest aviation news to something stupid like the best airline food. In this episode, we're going to talk about the trip that Justin and Paige went on to Minneapolis. I'm going to go ahead and talk about my recent trip to Amsterdam's Schipol Airport. We'll talk a little plane spotting, and we'll finish with an argument on what constitutes a special livery. We're going to have that question. Also, we're going to discuss this news article that came out about the 10 angriest airports, and our airport happens to be on that list. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce everyone. All right. So first off, I'd like to go ahead and introduce you, Justin. Justin, please introduce yourself. Let us know how we can reach you on some social media platforms. What got you into aviation? Your favorite airport, domestically, maybe internationally. Your favorite airline and your favorite plane. Just talk about yourself.
I can do that all day. Appreciate the introduction. Let's see. I'm Justin Moore. You can find me at Spotting Omaha on Instagram. That's about it. Just find me on Instagram. Don't find me anywhere else, please. Let's see. You can let's see. Favorite. What got me into aviation? I've been into aviation. I'm sure like both of you are since day one. Literally since day one of birth. My dad got me into aviation and going out to Epley. I've lived in Omaha my whole life. Going out to Epley, plane spotting from the garage, from good old Ida Circle, for years and years, and then finally got into taking pictures of it just within the last couple of years and like taking it rather seriously, like I think you guys do. Let's see, my favorite airport internationally. I'm gonna skip on that one because I don't have enough experience internationally, but domestically, other than OMA, obviously, it would be DFW due to family connections and just been through there quite often, and not to mention LAX. That's the obvious choice, I think.
Oh, yeah.
LAX. Favorite airline? American Airlines is going to be mine due to mileage, and that's strictly going to be the only reason for being my favorite airline is due to mileage accrued. Let's see. Favorite plane? That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. For me, it's going to be anything that's got two aisles and is a wide body and considered a heavy. That's my favorite airplane. But hey, I'm cutting myself short so we can get to Paige because I know she's got a lot to say.
Hey,
and-
don't forget the A319. That's your favorite plane as well.
well, now that you brought it up, that plane is horrifying and ugly.
I think it has a cute plane face, and your opinion is wrong. So.
This is where the slap.
Yeah, you guys, come on.
Anyway, and I'll go across the table, literally physically as we are right now, to
Literally,
Paige.
physically.
Paige, introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, Paige. Yeah, introduce yourself again. Where can we reach you on your social media platforms? You could talk about Aileron as well. What
absolutely.
got you into aviation? Your favorite airport, favorite airline, and favorite plane? Go.
All right. Well, you can reach me on Instagram at OMA_spotter_page. My little Globetrotter spotter buddy, Adventures with Aileron, is on Instagram with me as well. What got me into aviation really was the first time I flew 737-200 from Delta out of Omaha. I went to Atlanta. It was my trip to Florida. That's what kind of got me into aviation. My favorite airport is Denver, and that's actually for a couple different reasons. First of all, it's so beautiful. Like the new outdoor decks that they have, where you can just watch airplanes, absolutely beautiful. The new bathrooms they've built within the last couple years, where you could go out and use. It's a thing though. You go out to where you wash your hands, and you can see all the planes. It's like a huge window, and you can see all the planes.
Yeah, but the airplanes can see you.
But you're not going to the bathroom. You're washing your hands.
Bathroom is very underrated in airport qualifications. Very
It is
underrated.
at Denver. It really is. But other than that, so Denver actually was the first trip that I planned all on my own. I booked the flights. I booked the rental car. I booked the hotel. I put together the entire itinerary, and this was a few years ago. And all the trips I had taken prior really was all put together by whoever I was traveling with. So this was super huge for me. I had planned everything on my own, and fortunately for me, everything went 100% according to plan. And it was one of the most memorable trips I'd ever taken. And I just remember when the trip was all said and done, we went to the airport. I was spotting for a little bit, and I just remember sitting there like, I just did that. Like, I created a whole trip for myself, and it all went amazing. And I was just so happy and so proud of myself. Like, that was the first trip I'd ever done for myself, and that's really what got me really into traveling, because it gave me such a huge confidence that like I can do this. Um, so that's kind of Denver is my my favorite airport for that reason.
Lost my headset.
Did
Let's
we
see.
mention that we're new to this? Just FYI.
Yeah, this is trial and error, but we're having fun. Favorite airline, Southwest. They're cute, so and I have a credit card with them, and obviously miles and all that stuff. So.
Please feel free to share that number, by the way.
Oh, okay,
Speaking
yeah.
of how we can reach you.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Just right here. Here you go. Favorite plane is the 747. Always has been, and I kind of have to thank my dad for that, because he got me a model to build back in 2017 of Lufthansa's registration D-ABYA, or Diabaya as I like to call it.
Dabia.
Diabaya. And I built that, and I didn't really know too much about planes, or I did know a lot about planes, but didn't know, you know, too much at that point. But I decided to get on Flight Radar 24 and check, see, hey, is Diabaya real, registration, or did they just make that up for, the sake of the model? And it is. And so I've been tracking that plane all over the globe ever since then, and it's been my favorite aircraft. And last year, going to LAX, it left 3 hours before I got there, and I've never been so devastated in my life.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. We all went to LA last year and we did our we're doing it again. Now we're calling it annual
Yeah, it's our annual
plane
thing.
spotting thing. But yeah, I
God bless LAX.
Exactly.
love LAX. Yeah, I literally saw it and I took pictures of
I
it and
know.
video, and
And
I
I
knew how
cried.
jealous you were.
I was jealous, and I cried. Yeah.
And then I looked back at my Flighty app and I actually found out that I have flown
And
that
then I
aircraft.
cried again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not just
hopefully,
throwing salt to the wound.
yeah, I know. Just hurting me internally, ripping my heart to shreds over here. No big deal. But yeah, so that's my favorite plane in the whole wide world, along with Maryland One special livery from Southwest. That is the very first special livery that I photographed. So I have a model of that, as well as two models of the Abaya now. The model that I built, which is in the older livery, and then I bought Skymark's model in the newer livery. So yeah.
Which by the way, do we like the new Lufthansa livery library?
I
That's a
don't
no.
mind it. I don't mind it. I think it could have more to it. I think it is a little bit plain, plain.
Yes.
But
I mean, if I'm comparing it to the old one or the original, as you might want
Yeah.
to say, to me, I don't like it. That's my statement.
Well, and I actually had the choice with the model I built of Diabaya to put it in the old or new library, and I
And
put
you-
it in the old. So yeah. No, the one I built was in the old, and then I have a new of the new one that I bought. That I didn't build that one, but I bought it off of Amazon. So
It's kind of like Condor with their new the new
their
livery.
striped sweater that they're wearing.
I'll admit, hated it at first, but it's grown on me harder
Same
than
here.
every livery ever.
I love
I
it.
know. I hated it
The
at
best
first,
marketing
but I'm
I've ever
like,
seen.
Well,
Yeah.
you know the reason behind the marketing, right?
Tell me.
It's
All
the
right.
beach towels,
Yeah, it's
isn't
the
it?
beach towels. So it makes you want to travel. It makes you
And
like
Mission accomplished with Condor.
Right.
and it's beautiful. Like I remember people were like, "Oh yeah, it's ugly," and I'm like, "No, this is going to be smart
I'll
marketing."
admit, I was one of those people at first, but
I was
the
too.
more I see it, the more it's grown on me, and I think it might be easily one of my favorites out there.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
And I wonder if we're gonna
Regardless
see
of
it.
color. Regardless of color.
Right. Oh yeah. And I wonder if we're gonna see it at LAX though. 'Cause I don't remember what their seasonals are for them.
So I remember
They do bring the A330 in as of late.
Oh, okay. Wow.
and I did, if you look back at I did get one in LAX, a Condor, but not the
It's
not
not
the new
the-
hoops.
yeah.
The hoops,
But
the
they are
stripes.
bringing that A330 Neo on that route as of
Ooh,
recent,
all
so
right.
that's a possibility of seeing it.
Yeah.
Look at us, little nerds here. All right, so we had a little bit of podcast issues there, but technicalities, right? We're fixing it. It's our first podcast, but all right. So everybody has introduced themselves. Justin, Paige, you both recently went to Minneapolis,
We did.
We did.
and
Heck yeah.
yeah, you guys took the first passenger service, right? I don't know, inaugural passenger service between Minneapolis and Omaha through Sun Country. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, Talk about your time there. Like, all right, so you both went to Minneapolis
hmm
a few days prior, or maybe a day prior. You didn't take Sun Country to get there, obviously, right?
Nope, I took Southwest, and I took a special livery
Oh
from
yeah.
Omaha to Chicago. Yeah.
Oh,
Did she
First
though?
ever. I
Did
did.
she?
I did, Justin. Actually, I did.
okay. So, Justin, why do you not think that it wasn't a special?
Okay. So the reason it was special, but there's classifications here. Let's be
Okay.
honest.
Okay, yeah.
There's a special that is just a sticker, which is what you were on. So it's technically, yes, a special. But to
hmm
me, just I've always kind of referred to a special as the whole paint scheme is completely different. That's always been my kind of opinion of a special livery.
Now that I will agree that's a different level. However, mine was extra special as far as the decal goes because the inside was painted. So the overhead bins were actually decorated in so the plane I flew was the Spirit of Hope. That's what the decal said. And the paintings on the overhead bins were created by children through the Ronald McDonald House charities depicting the Spirit of Hope. So the overhead bins were all painted. And that is truly what I felt was the really special part because it
That
was
is
so
cool. That
cool,
is.
super cool. And yeah, I would consider decals to be special libraries,
I didn't say it was wrong. I just said
but
that
that's
there are technically
there
yes,
is
you
different
did find a
levels.
special for
But
sure.
yeah,
I'm,
But you had a plane that had a sticker. For me, a special livery. By the way, livery, not livery.
I don't know.
But
I do it both ways, but
that's
you know.
kinky. But anyway,
so
you can't do it both ways. You got to do it one.
right there you go, right? So so like let's talk about like the last 747 that was produced, right?
I
That
think
came
they
off the
should have
line
done
in
more for that.
Atlas. They just put a sticker.
I don't even think they
Fair
did a
point.
stick. I don't even think they did a sticker though, did they?
They did do a sticker eventually after like its first flight. They ended up putting a sticker on it. They
Oh,
did.
Correct.
They did.
but the sticker didn't even depict that it was the last 747. It was a dedication to somebody.
Correct. But
You
you
kind of
could
got to do your homework kind of
Yeah.
thing, like to actually know what it's resembling. Or
I mean, it's a special, but it's not like it should have been more, seeing as how it
I'm sorry, did
is.
you just say a plane with a sticker is not a special?
I said it's special, but it should have been more considering the fact that
Oh
it's the
no.
last 747. That's what I said. But the sticker isn't even depicting the fact that it's the last
On that specific,
747.
correct.
Yeah.
And
So
it is
that's
kind of odd how it says Atlas on, I believe, left side, and then on the right side,
it's like
it's
logistic
the
something.
other company that is
Yeah.
partnered with it. Dead air.
yeah. So I personally feel like it could be considered a special. And if you think about it, like if it's the fact that an aircraft has something different from the normal livery, I
That's the way
think
I
Fair
see it.
point.
that's
Fair
the
Yeah.
way
point.
I look at it. So like Southwest also has one called like Warrior One that people don't know about.
hmm
Um, and
Which is not for the Golden State Warriors, which is what I thought.
correct, it is not.
No.
They also have Heart One and Heart Two. They also have
The Jack Vidal.
Overrated liveries.
it's the same liveries, just has this different
It's
sticker.
yeah.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Overrated.
By the way, thank you Southwest for
Yeah.
some of our reposts of our pictures.
Exactly.
New Mexico one, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
both of us got the New Mexico one repost.
by the way,
Good for you guys.
let's talk about that new Hawaii.
The
Southwest.
787?
The IMUA, just so I don't pronounce
Oh,
it wrong. IMUA
Imua.
1
Yeah,
Imua.
my koozie right here that I have my beer in. I have
that
an Imua
everyone can
1
definitely
koozie.
see.
Yes,
Yes, that y'all can see. I'll even post a picture of that one so y'all can see it too.
that is a beautiful aircraft.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think it's absolutely beautiful, and it's funny. We had a local spotter here that thought he knew what the aircraft was, and then Paige did a little bit more research and proved that individual wrong.
heck yeah.
Yeah,
I
so she
did.
figured
I'm
it out.
proud of it.
What was it? It was up there in Everett, right?
Yeah. No, it was in Spokane.
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 Spokane or Spokane?
Spokane.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Spokane.
It's all right.
It's that Nebraska
Tomatoes,
education,
tomatoes.
remember? You know, like
Tomatoes,
Okay, well,
tomatoes.
the way I see it is that the E at the end is supposed to make the A like Spokane. That's how the E. If it's Spokane, it shouldn't have had
Mhm.
the E at the end.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying.
Again, a Nebraska education. You're an adult in Nebraska at 19. It commonly makes
I don't
sense, right?
agree with that, but
That's right. Luckily, this is a three-person podcast.
Also, so we lost Slammin' Salmon.
but it got into a new salmon.
It is good,
It's
but
not as good as the first
I just don't
one,
understand why
think.
we couldn't have a world where both fish could exist.
Exactly.
I don't disagree.
I agree. It
Like,
should have. Yeah.
Alaska, what's up?
I
Yeah.
totally missed that
You've
aircraft
got
too.
plenty
I
of
was on alert.
737s. Plenty of 737s in the fleet. Why
Right.
can't both fish exist?
Exactly. That's what we're all
Reach
saying.
out to us, Alaska. We want to know these
We
things.
need answers.
All right, so we totally got off topic. Let me reel you guys back into the conversation. Let's talk about your Sun Country inaugural
Yeah.
experience. So you both flew into Minneapolis, right?
Yep.
And got
I
to
drove, but not
Oh,
important.
you drove? Okay, there we go. So you got
Hey,
to
we
you
both
both got
got
to
there.
Minneapolis though,
Yep.
and you got on the first inaugural service from Minneapolis to
dun.
Omaha. Now, obviously, we've had Sun Country here quite a few times, mostly due to I believe they do a gambling or they bring gamblers out to
Yeah, the
Bullhead
charter.
City.
Yep.
It's hardcore.
Yeah, right? People
But
like to
yes,
gamble.
Omaha is just used to Sun Country for the charter service.
For the charter
Exactly, yeah.
service. So we've also seen them charter in sports teams, right?
VIPs, I believe they're referred to as.
VIPs, VIPs,
Vips.
the VIPs. All right, so now Sun Country runs a service or runs direct flights from Minneapolis to Omaha.
Fridays and Mondays.
Fridays
Yep.
and Mondays for the weekend, right?
For people to go to Mall of America and spend the money.
And they're trying to compete against obviously Delta.
Yep.
Word up, Delta. That's my favorite airline, by the way. I mean, I do have a credit card from them that is made out of a 747. Just saying.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking
yeah.
of back on topic,
Bing. All right, back on topic. So you guys both went to Minneapolis.
we did.
Now
did,
you
yeah.
get into the Minneapolis airport, right? You're expecting some.
So we're talking about the
sort
day of the flight.
Let's
correct?
talk about
Yeah,
the day of the flight.
Ooh,
So
man, talk about a roller coaster of emotions.
it was.
Yes.
There
All
was
right.
so many emotions. So first of all, we didn't even know
Well,
what.
hold on. First off, how was check-in? Was check-in easy?
I would like to say that we luckily went down to check-in to get physical boarding
We
passes
did.
to
Actually,
commemorate the occasion.
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
I checked in online ahead of time as well, just so that I could also have the mobile boarding pass. And it
Like
was
a normal
actually a
human being.
process. Yeah, it was a process actually. But so since Sun Country they don't have an app, they have a website. So you check in through the website, you have to go through a few pages, make sure all your confirmations are correct, and then they email you a link to get you a boarding pass, and then you can add it to your. So I have an iPhone, so Apple Wallet. I could add it to my Apple Wallet. It was easy. It was just a little bit, a few more steps than what you would normally do through an app.
Wait. So they don't have an app?
So Sun
They
Country
don't.
does not have an app.
They do not.
What?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wait. Like I'm like going to get on my iPhone right now just to check.
No,
but
they do
go ahead
not.
and talk about it. All right.
They do
Yeah,
not.
they don't have
So
an app.
I'm gonna go ahead and verify this while you guys continue to talk. All right. So you got your boarding pass. All right. Now you show up to your gate, right? Well, again, you said that Paige. You said that we didn't, or you didn't know what aircraft.
I
you were
would like to
getting.
make a quick
Yes,
shout
so-
out to Randall Moore for giving the idea for me years back to always get a hard copy boarding pass
Yes.
because you never know when a good event / flight will happen and you want to commemorate the event. Because nowadays
Exactly.
everything's on the phone and once you check in on the flight, then it's gone. Anyway,
Exactly.
Paige, I'll let you take the emotional part of this now.
It was a little bit emotional for all of us because we were all expecting, it's an inaugural flight. We're gonna get the new Tide Pod livery, maybe with a 40-year sticker. We didn't find out what aircraft we were gonna have until probably 2 hours before the flight, and it is the worst.
In typical Allegiant Sun Country style.
Exactly, and it was the worst livery from Sun Country. Like it was the super boring livery, just blue.
So
It
it's
didn't
the
even.
all blue one for those
Yeah,
of you that might not
the
know
all
what
blue
the so-called
one.
super boring one
I like
is.
to call it the sun-kissed.
Yeah, it. Right, and
Because it's the one without the modified S in the front for those of you who
yes,
might not be familiar with them.
yeah. And and you, Justin, were the first one to actually say that, and I was like,
Me?
no way. And I went and checked. I'm like, you're right.
I'll never forget that moment. I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah, I won't either because
That's when I started looking at Delta flights back to Omaha. I was like, nah.
That's a good choice.
I knew you were gonna say that. But yeah, we
But
got
literally no fanfare at the gate. None. You couldn't even tell it was
Wait,
another
nothing.
wait,
flight.
nothing?
There was
Like
nothing at the gate.
you couldn't tell any. So the gate was H3 in Terminal 2. You couldn't tell there was a difference by looking at H1, 2, 3, so
They
on, all
were
the way
all
to
the
11 or
same.
12. There was
Wait.
no
Yeah.
difference in the gate.
Wait, so you took the first flight from Minneapolis to Omaha on Sun Country, and there was no fanfare, no nothing?
At
No.
Minneapolis,
cake,
there was
no
not. There was
nothing?
not.
There was not at Minneapolis, correct.
However, let's fast forward a little bit to just make sure that this does come full circle. It does end up making sense in the end.
It
So
does.
we get to
Absolutely.
Omaha.
Yes.
Paige
Okay.
walks off the plane.
And there's a party. But before we get to that,
Straight
though,
up.
there was a water cannon salute. And that was
Ooh,
so
that's right.
freaking cool.
That's right. And I also took pictures and recorded it.
Yes.
Yep.
I will say I've never been on a plane that had happened to. I've seen it, but not being the person
Me
on the
too.
plane.
That was I'm gonna be the first to admit I teared up when the water cannon salute. I had a few
Hashtag shocking.
Of course.
tears. It was so beautiful. And then just to get off the plane and walk.
Speaking of waterworks, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But and then just getting off the plane and going immediately into a party was just such a cool experience,
So then that's where we bring in the cake and the balloons.
Yeah.
And the best part for me that made it all worth it was they did give a little coin, what they consider a challenge coin. And it is a coin that has a challenge coin. So it's got, at first I thought it just had just Sun Country on it, which was fine. But then look a little closer at it, and it's actually got the date, which was, I believe, May 26th. And it said OMA to MSP. However, we had to ask around a little bit for these coins because these were only being given to the people on the flight returning to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Oh, so our spotting friend Omar, he got one here at
Yes,
Asian
Epley.
Geek,
he
what's
did.
up? So yes, they only supposedly had an exact number for people that were on the return flight. Real quick, we were not on the return flight. So now you see the dilemma coming. Now you see the
Yeah.
dilemma
so
coming.
that's why you
Ah.
guys didn't get the fanfare that you thought you were going to get.
Yeah.
So word
Ah.
from some people that we met that were PR with Sun Country found out that they are only doing the so-called events and the fanfare at the new destinations. Not doing anything at the Minneapolis, but they're just doing it at the destinations.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, so that kind of makes sense
It
because
does.
Minneapolis is their hub. So why would they?
And again, Sun Country is a budget airline. They don't have money coming out the wazoo. Let's be honest.
Right.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thanks Delta and your high-priced flights.
Speaking of setting the standard, geez.
Exactly.
Don't
There's
hear-
a reason why we're all bougie here at Delta.
You don't hear a lot of people walking around with their Sun Country credit cards.
Right. I
Right.
don't even think those exist.
So
Honestly.
they did have the challenge coin. I had the date, and it had OMA to MSP, which we were able to score a couple for Paige and I.
Yep.
Luckily, that made it all worth it due to some
It
very
did.
nice people in the Sun Country PR department and a couple of guys that run the Epley Twitters and all the social medias. Shout out to them for hooking
Yeah,
us
shout
up.
out
Shout
to
out to them.
Justin who runs the Omaha.
Not me, by the way.
Yeah, a different Justin. The Justin
But
who
shout out to
runs
me though
the,
as well, for real though.
Oh, I mean, yeah, obviously.
Justin, here's your shout out.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Shout out to Justin who runs the Omaha Airport social media page for recognizing us and also getting us those coins and koozies. That
For
was
real, though.
really awesome.
It really did make it all worth it for me.
Yeah.
All right, and so that was your trip to Minneapolis to Omaha.
Yeah, and we
Also, shout out to all the great spotters up there. Had a really
Absolutely.
great time that morning.
Absolutely.
I was only there for 24 hours really, but had a great time that morning.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jet Set Shirts.
Yes,
Look
I was
him
just
up.
about to say
If
that.
you need some new apparel in your closet, Jet Set Shirts, man. He's got
Awesome.
By the way, they're not a sponsor, but we do like them.
you. We can work on that. We'll talk later.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
please give us a call.
Absolutely.
My man, thank you for the
Yeah.
ride.
He was Eric was awesome. He picked me up from the airport, showed me around a little bit to the spotting locations. Super awesome guy. He flew back with us on the inaugural from Minneapolis to Omaha, and then flew back on that inaugural to Omaha to Minneapolis.
Oh, so he did the double.
Yeah, he did the double.
He went all
Nice.
out. All out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and that was a super fun time. We all had a really
Had a
good
great
time
morning.
together. Yeah.
Great morning of spotting, seeing some different locations, seeing a different city, seeing some
Absolutely.
things we just don't normally see. Speaking of Delta, I saw a lot of Delta that morning.
Yes, we did.
Because it's a hub.
Just saying. Saw
We
a lot of
also-
Delta.
Shout out to Delta again.
We also saw a C-17 land that morning.
Oh, did we, Paige? I don't
we-
remember that.
I had a little bit of an out of body experience.
I think we all.
You'll have to be more specific.
I think the video that Jet Set Shirts took kind of just depicts that out of my
That's
experience.
Paige in a nutshell.
It is.
That's
It
not
really
just a
is.
C-17 arriving. That's any plane landing, taking off any day.
Oh, they're all just so cute. Planes are cute. So,
Them and their cute little
they're
faces,
cute
and
little plane faces.
So
Look at those.
Adama, we had a great time. Talk about your most recent trip. Where did you go?
Absolutely.
ah,
Yeah.
yeah. So my most recent trip. So I go to Italy quite a bit. That's where my wife lives, and darn, so I had to go to Italy all the
Oh,
time,
Gosh,
darn, rough
rough.
life.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
God.
I actually, I mean, I had two recent trips, but this will be the most recent trip. Will be about going to Milan, and yeah. So I go to Milan, and I usually don't like to fly into Milano Malpensa. Malpensa is like an hour away from the actual city of Milan, whether it's by train, by car, it just takes forever, or the bus. So what I did was I actually flew into Milano Linate. Now Linate is the downtown airport. It's literally my wife's condo is, or not condo, her apartment is literally um, in the flight path of all the takeoffs of Linate, and I absolutely love it because I'm always looking at ITA. Uh,
Real quick, it's not ITA Airways. It's
Ita.
I say ITA for like Italia,
That's what I
Eh,
say. It's
uh,
easier.
hey,
no. I've heard it's literally not ITA. It's ITA. Like that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
It's not
Yeah.
ITA.
yeah,
Right.
it's ITA. If I think I'm saying it correct, I don't know. I
Ida?
just
Like Ida
Ida
Circle?
Circle.
there you go. Ida. Ida Circle is a place here in Omaha that we spot from. Um, but yeah, so ITA, I see their aircraft all the time, and I love their livery. Livery. Again, we're gonna have that conversation.
Another topic
Livery.
of discussion.
People are going to have that.
Yeah.
They're
Livery.
gonna correct us. But I love that blue aircraft, and they just got their first A330 Neo.
Yeah.
Oof.
Just 2 days ago, and it's beautiful. Oh,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I love it. But yeah, so I fly through. I fly into Linate. Now, Linate is a small airport, so that means that I'm going to have to get feeded in through either KLM or Air France. If I were to go to Charles de Gaulle, don't ever go to that
That's what
airport.
I've heard.
It is
Anything in Paris I've heard is
terrible,
just terrible.
terrible.
I mean, I'm willing to find out. So
The
that's all I
only
gotta
way
say.
that I would go to a Paris airport is if I could fly the A318 or through Air France.
Ah, I did see. So speaking of there at Schipol, I did see an A318,
What?
which those are really rare. They're a little bit. They're quite rare. I think Air France is
Yes.
like the only passenger service
I
that
believe so.
Only
does it.
one that I know of.
I think they
Yeah.
have like 60 of the 88 aircraft. I think it's 88 is the number.
It's very small.
But
Yeah.
they have the majority of the A318. So yeah, so I fly into Amsterdam and I take KLM down to 700. I took it down to Milano Linate, which, by the way, I love KLM. KLM has some of the best passenger service ever when it comes to just a domestic, and I say domestic like a European flight,
So I've
because
heard.
domestic or you know here in America, if it's a 2-hour flight, you're not gonna get a meal or anything like that. But when
Maybe
it
get some water.
right,
Yeah. And a
water,
snack.
some coffee. But
Yeah.
with KLM, you're going to get they actually will give you banana bread in the morning,
Whoa.
Sounds
or
amazing.
they'll give you sandwiches in the afternoon flights, which is weird, right? But just getting that passenger service, but
Right.
they are quite an exceptional airline that even when it comes to their coffee cups, they have the little Dutch, like the Dutch tea sets. Listen, I'm looking at first class here, okay? They're business class. They literally get their tea sets, coffee in like the Dutch ceramic cups. It was so cool.
That's so cool.
That is
Also,
really cool.
let's talk about KLM and their first class passenger experience or the business class. If you fly their flights, they give you little Dutch houses.
What?
That's so cool.
Little Dutch houses.
So cool.
And you can see these little Dutch houses. They're now like I think 110 of them, and you can go on eBay and try to get the whole set right now. And it's like
It sounds like the only way I'm
€3,000.
gonna get one of these soon.
Right.
I mean, no, you can go on business class. There you go. Go to the Dutch world.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so it's just so neat. And specifically, if you go into so in Europe, when you fly, there's the Schengen area and the non-Schengen area.
Explain.
All right, so Schengen is where you can go in between countries in Europe without having to show your passport.
Okay.
All right,
All
so
right.
it's different from the EU, from the European Union.
Mhm.
All right, so the UK is obviously not in there because they left the EU with Brexit.
Hashtag
Um,
history.
there you go, a little bit of history there. Um, and yeah, so Schengen area, non-Schengen area. If you go into the non-Schengen area, that means you have to get out of you have to go through passport control, stamp your passport. Now you're no longer in Europe, right? Inside the airport. And so if you go there, KLM has a lounge, which I have that privilege.
Mm, yeah.
Just saying, I have privilege
All
every once in a
right. All
while,
Just
right.
right?
go take your banana bread into the lounge. I get it.
There you go.
With your
Uh,
little house, your ceramic house. And,
I don't have that yet. I want one
oh
though.
yeah.
But that KLM lounge has two different. First off, when you get on the escalator and you go up to the lounge, you see these.
So
Uh,
those are the houses you're referring to.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you're actually inside the lounge, which has two levels uh, and two different sides, it's massive. Uh, they actually have all 110 of them out there, so you can see.
That's crazy.
And it's amazing. I think they also have an area where you can spot if you do have that capability.
Oh, here we go.
But so what I originally had done was when I had my layover in Amsterdam back from Milan, and I was headed to Detroit, back here to Omaha. I tr- they have a an area for people who want to plane spot.
People like us.
People
Yeah,
like us, or
exactly.
just like normal people, right? They just want to
Yeah.
come to the airport. They actually advertise it like the actual tourism industry. So I arrive at like 8:30 in the morning back from Milan, and I go up to try to go to the spotting area, and it's closed.
Oh my God.
Oh, I would be devastated.
I had a 5-hour layover.
Oh
I
my
specifically had
God.
a 5-hour layover just so I could
Just
Like
to go
planned
there.
this intentionally.
exactly because I've done it
Oh.
before and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Is
Plane
it
spotting
outside?
there.
I'm sorry. Is it like an outside terrace?
Yeah, yeah, it's outside. You have to leave the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, so you had to leave the airport because so you don't go into that non-Schengen area. You go in the
That's right.
you
It
stay
all
in the
comes
Schengen
full
Yeah.
area.
circle. It all
There
Yep.
comes
you
full
go.
circle.
All right. So I've done it before, and so I wanted to do it. They've changed their hours, and I don't know what the hours are.
So were you just there too early? Did it open eventually, or were you
It
just there
opened up
too
eventually at noon, but
at noon?
their normal
What the
hours
heck?
are 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's
So
weird.
someone
So
didn't show up? What are we talking about
I,
here?
I don't know. I looked at the website.
Someone done messed up.
It didn't work.
Like,
However, I did because I had the capability. I went to the KLM lounge, number
Mm,
52,
luckily
yeah.
there was a plan B, right?
Yeah.
and I didn't know about it though. I didn't know that you could spot from there. The problem with
Oh.
that area though, if you spot there, is that you're only getting like international
Oh
flights,
no.
Oh,
the
darn.
non-Schengen, but it's only a few.
We
Okay.
don't, we just
You
get
I
so
I
many of those
I
here in
didn't get
Omaha.
many. I only got like a very few. So
All right.
my plane spotting was not fun because there was quite a few that I wanted to check out that day. But anyways, whatever.
At least there was an option
Yeah.
though, right?
Yes, there was an option if you pay for it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the Schipol Airport is absolutely phenomenal.
That is a bucket list airport for me.
There's just so much in there.
Seriously.
They've got the Rijksmuseum in there. So Rijksmuseum.
Museum in an airport. Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't know about that here.
Well, I know what San Francisco, their recent
Oh,
new terminal, they
yeah.
did put a museum in there.
Yep.
But Amsterdam Schiphol, not Skipple, Schiphol.
My bad.
There you go. Uh, they yeah, so they have a museum in there. They have places for kids to hang out. They even have lockers that you can just put your luggage, your suitcase in there,
Wow.
and
That's crazy.
just go enjoy the airport. There's so much to do inside that airport. Like they even have like dining areas that have tea sets. They also even have like libraries and like places
That
to
is so
just
cool.
relax. They
Sounds
have
super chill.
it's an amazing
Right.
experience. And if you go into the main Schengen terminal where you're like looking at the the departure and the arrival boards, there is a clock that's in there, and with the clock itself, there is a man that paints like every minute. And it's animated, but it
Whoa.
looks like an actual man is actually erasing the minute sign
That's awesome.
and then
That's
repainting
so
the next minute
cool.
sign. There's
Very
just
cool.
Wow.
Very
so
cool.
much
Just character. It's
detail.
got character.
There's so
Right.
much character. They even got cows, like on
Cows.
Wait,
cows that
what?
are ceramic cows that are on right next to the.
Oh,
Best kind of
gotcha.
cow. Ceramic.
It's a ceramic cow. There's just so much art in there. It's
I
just
mean, is there a
ridiculous.
Cracky McGee's though?
Oh
Yo,
God,
if
Right?
you
we're talking
know,
about
you
Epley.
Like,
know.
Epley
If
is
you know,
exactly.
you know.
it's
If you know, you
terrible.
know.
I hate the Epley Airport.
Hey, you might have tea and crumpets over there, but we got Cracky McGee's over in Terminal South.
Yeah,
They need to fix themselves.
But at the same time, never change.
no, never.
Exactly.
But yeah, Schipol Airport, absolutely an amazing experience. The train station is even connected to the airport, and that is a large train station as well. And if you have a layover there at Amsterdam, Schiphol, if you're not gonna, if it's like 2-3 hours, you can go over there into the train station area, and they have um, quite a few things. They even have like a grocery store. So if you wanted to get a nice
Oh,
quick
wow.
sandwich, it's pretty neat. They also have, I forgot about this. They have a store there that they have one of the engines of I don't know which aircraft. That's they sell models and stuff like that, but it's a KLM, I think, uh, store to check out. So it's pretty neat.
I agree.
That
Schiphol
is
Been there.
Airport. I'm
amazing.
I
just
haven't
saying,
even been there, and it sounds great.
Schiphol Airport is probably going off to my introduction of what my favorite international
Yeah.
airport is. That would be my favorite international airport.
Well said.
I mean, shoot, I want to go there. The only international airport I've been to is Dublin, and it was cool, but I mean, Schiphol just sounds like it just beats out everything else. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would. Yeah.
probably so. And another thing I do also want to mention, and I don't know if you saw this, but the KLM, the CEO, she actually went on one of the flights. I think it was from somewhere in California back to Schiphol, where she actually went on the flight and was like a flight attendant. Like she got up in the flight attendant uniform and was serving passengers. Like that is such a great example of leadership. That was really cool.
Again, it's that Dutch experience.
Yeah,
I love that country.
absolutely.
I love it. All right. So enough about those two experiences that we've had. All right. So enough about Schiphol Airport and how amazing it is. Let's go ahead and get on
Okay.
to our final topic, guys. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. All right. So let's talk about this recent article that we literally just found out before the podcast started,
Minutes before.
minutes before.
Exactly.
Breaking news.
It's an article about the 10 angriest airports in the United States. Now, this is some sort of analytical. Forbes had some machine that figured it out. It's combed 37,000 tweets directed at the 60 busiest airports in the United States from March 2022 to March 2023. All right. Use some machine here. It's on the website called thestreet.com. And it talked about the 10 angriest airports. So here we go. I'm going to go through that list real quick. Starting at number 10, it's going to be the Norman Y. Mineta San Jose International Airport, if I said that correct.
Either way, it's angry.
It's angry, right?
Angry vibes.
56% of tweets to that airport were negative. Now, again, you have to think about
You
this.
think it's because no one knows how to pronounce it?
That could be.
That's the main reason why.
It does say international waiting and parking and help. Yeah, help.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Des Moines also technically an international airport.
Right.
Des Moines.
Des
So yeah, so that airport comes in at number 10. Again, you have to think about this and be philosophical about this thing. Like it is Twitter. All
Remember,
right.
these are tweets.
Exactly.
People get on Twitter to just be
Rant.
Karens and
Exactly.
Kevins, right? All right.
Kevin's?
So 10 was the airport in San Jose, California. I think I've actually flown into there. So actually, yeah, I did that 3-4 years ago. Coming in at number 9 is Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport.
Hard to believe.
Exactly.
That's a great airport.
Best
I
name.
loved
Best
it.
name of an airport, by the way, too.
love
hands
that.
down.
Absolutely. My favorite airport name in the world.
Sky Harbor.
Phoenix is an amazing city.
Absolutely.
All right, coming in at number 8 is Nashville International Airport. No, I've
I've
never
got
been to the
nothing on that one.
Nashville, but
Me
it says
either.
here traffic, police, waiting, passengers, and security.
So like basically every single airport that's ever existed in the history of the
Exactly.
earth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. hmm
Coming in at number 7 is San Diego International Airport. All right, I don't. It's here. It just
Next.
says waiting security lane or security line rental canceled.
I like how
Canceled.
the very last word is just canceled.
Canceled.
Canceled what?
Which, by the way, canceled with one L or two L's.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, I
it's
saw
2 L's.
that.
It's two L's,
It's
exactly.
2 L's, and they already messed that up.
Coming in at number 6 is my favorite, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. I understand it. Here it says delays, traffic, line, security, parking. I was there recently, just 2 weeks ago. I also did a little plane spotting out there. I could say that the line is absolutely horrendous. I have clear and I've got TSA pre-check, and those lines are even like 30 minutes long. So
Yeah, I missed a flight there
it,
once.
it's
And look, airports like Atlanta, they're so big. There's going to be people that are
Right.
angry in general. It's just the way it
exactly.
is.
yeah.
There's so many people. People
Absolutely.
get confused by it, but it is so easy. The airport
Hey,
is.
for me, I love Atlanta, but it's so spread out. It is easy, but it is so spread out. People are going to be throwing fits if they got to go from 1 to 3 to A to C. You know,
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, walking is a thing. Yeah,
hey,
Right.
it's okay
it's
to
only
walk,
helping you. It's only helping you.
and they've got plenty of. It's thought out so well, even for handicapped people. It's really well.
There's a reason it's the busiest airport.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Usually ranks up there.
Absolutely.
I've got nothing but great customer service there every time, and I'm a Delta boy, so it is what it is.
You've
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
A little bougie. All right, coming in
Bougie
at number
life.
5 is San Antonio International Airport.
Been there once.
57% of tweets there. It says due to TSA weapon. What?
Weapon.
There was just one specific weapon. It was a
Exactly.
Weapon. I don't
It is-
understand.
Right. Yeah. Not
Officers.
plural.
Not
Here we
plural.
go. Is a firearm again? What is up with San Antonio? And
Broken.
Broken.
What's up with them? They're angry, is what they are.
So
That's
I
really angry sounding. Like,
Not weapons. Weapon. By the
speaking
way.
of my
Exactly
military
one.
experience, that is where the Air Force basic military training does fly into. All the recruits will go in there to San Antonio Airport. So that's my only experience with San Antonio Airport.
I was
Is
through
leaving,
there a few years ago. But yeah.
and I went there. Coming from Atlanta. Yeah. All right.
You don't say.
So next, coming in at number 4 is Tampa International Airport. 57% of tweets due to bags, delayed luggage, security, and
Well, let's talk about
canceled.
this one real
Canceled
quick.
again with one
Again, this
L.
is Tampa. Lots of people retire in Tampa. If you didn't, as you just noted, people checking their bags. Older people check their bags. This makes sense to me. This
Yeah.
makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
It is a bunch of old people.
They
You're
all
right.
get on. They all got on Twitter, said their bags were delayed. This makes sense to me. I get this one.
I like it. I like it.
This one checks out, is what I'm trying to say.
Actually, speaking of Tampa, if anytime that I go to MacDill Air Force Base, sometimes it is
McNeil?
wonderful. It's on the other side of the Tampa Bay, and we actually, I will look outside and I see the aircraft coming in.
Nice.
So
Oh, that's
it's right
cool.
there in the pattern.
Yeah.
All right, coming in at number 3 is the most beautiful airport in the world, Epley Airfield.
Whoa, what? They're angry?
No
Yeah.
way.
Wait,
What?
We're
Who's
gonna get back to
angry?
that in a second. The reasons for that was delayed weather, cold,
Cold.
police, and issues. We're gonna get back to that. Finish it up. Number 2, Jacksonville International Airport. Again, another old
Again,
people.
there you go. People
Old
retire in
people.
Florida. They check their bags. They're pissed.
That one it says line
Exactly.
TSA garage.
Garage.
Delays
Just in general,
and
the
employees.
garage.
Garage.
Just in general.
I need more details on
Yeah.
that.
Not
Don't know.
shaded enough.
We could talk
Exactly.
about Epley's garage. All right.
Oh,
And
God.
number 1, John Wayne Airport.
That's too bad. I'm sorry to hear this one.
65% of tweets. So that one has the most noise, staff, TSA complaints, obviously complaints, and delayed. Yeah.
What's
You know why?
That one's
It's
interesting to me.
because they didn't go to LAX. That's why they're
What's
all
funny
upset
to me about that
Exactly.
one is that those people technically choose to avoid LAX. So you think
Exactly.
they would be happy, but yet
Yeah.
they're still angry. Those people are in lose-lose situations.
They really are.
It's their own fault.
It is.
Those people went to John Wayne to avoid LAX.
You
and
know
they're
why?
still mad,
It's-
and they're
it's-
still mad.
It's because they took Allegiant. That's why.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
Or Southwest.
Yeah. Or so.
I could argue that, but
All right. Let's get back to
It's John Wayne Airport.
let's get back
Southwest
to
flies in there.
our home port, guys. All right, we're gonna get back to
Home port.
Epley Airport,
Yeah.
Epley Airfield.
What's going on,
Can we just
Epley?
talk about how like the fact that we're even on this list gives us
Exactly.
credibility?
It a little bit, right? We have a little bit of credibility
Even if
with
it's
our
even if it's
20
because we got the worst restrooms, we're on the
our
list.
20 gates.
Oh my god, I could have some stories about the restrooms, but
Please
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, we
No,
could do
I'm
that for
not.
another podcast.
Yeah, no, I
All
have
right.
a story about that. We can get that another time, but
Please tune in next year.
What is your
for,
number
Yeah.
one complaint about the Epley Airport?
TSA.
Why?
Absolutely. I have never been clapped so hard by TSA than I
Real
have
quick,
at
can
Clap.
you-
Is this a
Epley
millennial
Airfield.
term
Yeah,
or
real
whatever
quick.
it
How
is?
about for the people at home that don't know what you
What
just
does
said?
clapped mean?
Clap means just like absolutely destroyed. Like, for example,
Continue.
I'm always my bags are getting pulled aside by Epley. I'm either getting
By the way, Paige looks super sketch if you don't know who she is.
apparently according to TSA I do. There's nothing about me when I look at myself in the mirror that looks sketchy,
Well,
but
that's what a lot of.
apparently
I mean, that's.
they
Oh, God.
Oh my god, that's great. That's perfect. When I wake up in the morning, I say, "You are perfect."
That's what I say to myself in the mirror.
I'm
But
Same,
totally going to
same.
use this for the trying to promote this podcast.
but for example, the TSA always pulls my bags aside, always pulls me aside
Always.
for the scanning. And one of my most recent adventures when I went to Phoenix, I got pulled aside.
Another one on the list.
Yeah, another one on the list.
Why do you go to all these angry airports?
I
Another
don't
one.
know, but another one exactly. I got pulled aside. I got pulled aside for the pat down or whatever, and they were like,
Ooh.
"Yeah, we need to pull you aside." And they scanned my phone in this really weird thing I've never seen before.
That's one
but
way to
they-
get a chick's number.
right? Yeah, this apparently they had this like little scanner that they scanned my phone. They're like, "Where's your phone?" I'm like, "It just literally went through the scanner where you told me to put it." And they were like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go get it." I'm like, "Okay." And then I saw all my bags go to the side. I'm like, "Oh, here we go." And they're keeping me aside. I'm like, "What's happening to my bags?" And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get to that." I'm like,
Oh.
"Okay." So then they get the bag and like, "Who's this?" I'm like, "Oh, it's me." And my cousin I went with, she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, it's probably my snacks because I had a can of cashews, and historically I've been pulled aside for that. And
It's always the nuts.
It's always the nuts, exactly. And that TSA agent, he was like, "Nope, that's not it." And like the most intimidating voice. I'm like, "Okie dokie." He's like, "Do you have anything sharp in here that could hurt me?" I'm like, "No." And
Just your attitude.
It's just your attitude. Exactly. That's the only thing going on here. And I'm trying to think to myself, like, what could I have left in my bag on accident that, would have, sounded the alarm for the TSA agents? I couldn't think of anything. And they're like, "Where's your keys?" And I tried to tell them, oh, it's in this top pouch because in my camera bag I have like quite a bit of, different areas. And I tried to like show them, and they're like, "Don't touch it." I'm like, all right, all right. And so they got into that pouch and they like started observing my keys, and they kind of like take this
Observing the keys.
they did. They like observed every individual key, and they're like, they just take this breath of relief. They're like, "Okay, okay, we thought you had a knife."
Whoa.
I'm so serious
I mean,
because apparently now it's a thing where people are putting like these mini knives on their keys and
like a
trying to
little
get it
Swiss
through
Army knife
TSA.
kind of thing on there.
Yeah, and they thought that I had a knife due to how my keys were laying, and several times I've been pulled aside by Epley TSA for so many
Oh,
random
gosh.
things. So, and then the first time I went through for pre-check, they were just rude to me because I got this blue piece of paper.
That's for the pre-check. Correct?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's pre-check here at Epley.
Yeah, that's pre-check here at Epley, which is weird because I've never seen that anywhere else really. I'm like, "What do I do with this?" And they were just so rude
They'll tell you
about
what
it.
to do with it.
Exactly. I'm like, "What do I do with this?" And they're like, "Don't give it to me. Give it to that guy up there." I'm like, "Oh, geez. All right then."
So like, it all sounds like it checks out for what we
Yeah.
for these angry
But
tweets that are coming through.
that's the only angry complaint I have. Otherwise, it's all been pretty chill for me, honestly. I don't know, small airport vibes is what I have to say, other than the TSA.
So I find this very interesting that Epley Airfield is on here, and the common
Yeah.
words that were used were delays, which I don't think we have many delays.
we
I feel
Maybe
like that's
really
just a
don't.
typical
it's probably
airport.
because of Southwest. If you think about
Oh,
Southwest
If
and
it
all
is.
their delays, right?
it
It's
could have
been
been
them.
back when they had that system outage.
They've had like 5 of them now in the
Right,
last
You'll have to
yeah.
be more
right?
specific. About
All of them.
So the next 2 topics were weather and cold. They're both the same, right? They're
Exactly.
I mean,
literally
those
the
both
same.
check out. Those both check out.
So
I
then
mean,
why is like Minneapolis not on there, which is cold,
Exactly.
right?
Or anywhere in Alaska.
However, Minneapolis is great.
It is. Yeah.
And then police.
police?
We as plane spotters here at Epley, we do run into the police quite often.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything illegal,
Shout
but
out Officer Randall.
but they but they tend to like
They're very curious. They don't really understand what we're doing most of the time.
yeah, as most people don't understand plane spotters,
Yeah.
but
They just don't get us.
and they
Exactly.
just don't have clearly defined areas as to where we can and can't go. So
Exactly.
there's been multiple times when I've been like, there's no sign here. Literally, your sign is not here. I'm like, well,
Not to mention every other officer contradicts himself. I feel like every single time.
Yeah.
every time.
That's the thing.
And you know what?
We can either be there or we can't. It just depends on the day of the week.
That's
Yeah.
kind of true. But we just want some defined areas,
Exactly.
maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. But we obviously have I think we have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
We explain our
Absolutely.
situation and
We ain't trying to
issues.
hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then it just says issues is the final thing with Epley.
Issues.
There's plenty of episodes that we could talk about just Epley Airport in itself, but we don't want to bore you with that too much. Hey, so right,
Just issues.
we might just do an episode on just Epley itself.
Yes.
All right. Hey, you two, we're gonna try to wrap this up. You guys have anything else you want to say?
I'm good. I think we got it all covered.
I think I'm good. Hit the outro, man.
All right, we're
Yeah.
gonna hit the outro. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Exit Row. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, well, then why are you still listening? If you did not, please like and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Exit Row Pod and on our own social media platforms. Please do not forget to share with your family, friends, and pets. Catch us on our next podcast soon. And if you happen to be in LA from 15 to 18 June or 19 June,
Or the
please
19th.
say hello to us as we are all staying at the H Hotel overlooking the amazing LAX. Thank you and bye.